So ADUs are being developed. There is demand out there. The problem is that lenders and appraisers are catching up. The market is leading this activity. Lenders and appraisers are catching up to that activity. So we have some challenges. Lenders and appraisers have some challenges. And I'll talk very briefly about what the lending process is. I'll talk very briefly about what the appraisal process is. And then I'll add some suggestions. And really, I'm asking for help from agents, from homeowners, from investors that are out there, how you can help the appraiser in the appraisal process if you're financing a property with an ADU. First things first, the two biggest, they're not direct lenders, but they buy the loans from lenders, are Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're your so-called conforming loans. And they have specific guidelines which many lenders follow because they all sell their loans to Fannie or Freddie. So one of the guidelines for Fannie and Freddie are, when it comes to single family homes, they will only loan if the single family home has one ADU. That's critical because in California, there's the potential to have two ADUs. In California, you can have an ADU and you can have what's called a JADU or junior ADU. So Fannie, Freddie, if you have two ADUs, they won't loan on that. They will only loan on one ADU with a single family. I have to add that there is some very technical and nuanced instructions there. And it is possible to have something permitted as a JADU, but not count as an ADU for lending purposes. But it's very technical. That's part of the appraisal course, not part of this course. But a subtext, sub-message in here is, when you get financing, please ask your lender to ensure that the appraiser is trained in valuing ADUs, because there are wrinkles, it is new, and the regulations have changed. So if you have a single family, you got one ADU, you're in good shape. It's loanable. If you have two ADUs, you might have a problem. Consider that. If you're an investor, if you own a 2 to 4, duplex, threeplex, fourplex, Fannie and Freddie won't loan if you have an ADU, if you add an ADU on that. Keep that in mind. There's other ways to finance that. You can go commercial banks. Banks I work for will finance those all day. You just can't get a Fannie or Freddie loan right now. Keep this in mind also. If you have a fourplex, or possibly if you have a threeplex, and you build 5 total units, say you can get 2 ADUs, so it becomes 5 or more units, you no longer have what we call a residential property. You've moved into the commercial space. You have an apartment building, a multifamily property. It's a whole different process. You certainly can get a loan, but the financing, the structure of the loan, it is different, and it's not as simple as the loan you got on the fourplex. So keep that in mind. When appraisers go out and value the property, ideally what we're looking for is a comparable with an ADU. Because this trend is so new, these homes haven't sold. There might be a number of homes with ADUs in your neighborhood. Nobody sold them yet. They just build it. They're not about ready to sell it after I've just spent 150, 200,000 bucks building the thing. So they're there, but they haven't sold. Fannie, Freddie wants sales. So any sale activity that you know doesn't even have to be similar to your house anymore. It used to be, it had to be similar. Now, no, all they want to know is, are there sales? So if you have a 2,000 square foot house and you heard around the corner there's a 3,300 square foot house with an ADU that's sold, write that information down and give it to the appraiser. It could be very helpful. If you know of any actives or pendings that have sold, and this especially goes to the listing agents and listing brokers, selling agents, selling brokers, the real estate experts out there, this data is golden for the appraiser. They can use it. Doesn't have to be comparable sale, just has to be a sale with an ADU unit. That's the key. Those are new flexibilities by Fannie and Freddie. They just came out in September of last year. That's how new this stuff is. Another thing that you can do is, if you're building an ADU, or have built an ADU, you put together the cost, the project cost on that, and keep that handy. If you've built one and are selling your house, have that handy, because if you can give that to an appraiser, that cost information is golden. Cost doesn't always equal value, but in this case, cost can create a reasonable boundary for an adjustment. So keep that information, have it ready to share with the appraiser. Likewise for brokers and agents, if you know of sales, if you know if somebody built one, if you had a client that bought a property and is building an ADU, you follow up with them. Hey, did you build it? How much did it cost? What does it look like? What did you do with it? Rental information. While we don't do an income approach on ADUs for technical reasons, and the lenders don't count their income for the loan, rental income as part of the data package that we put together is extremely valuable. So you can help us by having that data available when we come to appraise your house. One other thing that I really like to emphasize, and this is something that is primarily falls on the shoulders of the borrower, because it's the borrower that's engaging the lender. The borrower is the lender's client. If you're the borrower, or if you're a stakeholder around the borrower, if you're an agent representing the borrower, if you're a seller working with the buying agents, emphasize, everybody get on the same page. What you want to ask the lender is, our property has an ADU. Please be sure to send out an appraiser who has experience and training in valuing ADUs. It's emerging, it's new. We are playing catch up. There's a lot of changes. Appraisal is a specialty. Not every appraiser has the experience and the training to appraise every type of property. So I will be available for questions on any of these topics, or we can go as deep as you want, as detailed as you want, as technical as you want, et cetera, et cetera. But if it's a question about appraisal, ADUs, and how the lending guidelines fit into that, I'm happy to address it and answer it. So again, thank you for your time. Look forward to seeing you at the virtual roundtable. Thank you.